very good evening. You're watching the news tonight on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses Indian heads of missions in New Delhi. Conclave expected to focus on changing global scenario and India's approach to the challenge. Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti says Prime Minister Narendra Modi alone can resolve the problems of the state. Asserts that his visit to Pakistan demonstrated strength. Over 300 students hospitalized after gas leak in southeast Delhi. Government forms a 5-member doctors team to deal with the incident. And Centre declares Assam a disturbed area, announces that Armed Forces Special Powers Act will continue in the state for 3 months. 3 districts of Arunachal Pradesh also declared disturbed areas. Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the Indian heads of mission in New Delhi on Saturday. India's engagement with major powers as well as the strain in ties with Pakistan and China dominated discussions at the conclave. The conclave is also expected to focus on major global developments and India's approach to them. India's relationship with the Trump administration and ties with Russia are also likely to figure in the conclave. India's ties with resource-rich Africa as well as with the Gulf countries and the situation in the Middle East are also expected to be discussed during the meeting. Envoys also made presentations on India's bilateral relationship with the countries they are posted to. Well, Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti praised Prime Minister Narendra Modi, stating that he alone can help the state in these troubling times. Mufti further said that Modi has demonstrated his strength by visiting Pakistan despite the tensions between the two countries. Here's more.
A day after the Jammu and Kashmir governor briefed Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the security situation in the state, Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti insisted that Modi alone can help the state in these troubling circumstances.
अगर आज भी जम्मू कश्मीर की समस्या का कोई समाधान, कोई हल ढूंढ सकता है, तो वो श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी और कोई नहीं। उनके पास मैंडेट है इस मुल्क का, वो जो फैसला करेंगे, जैसा करेंगे, मुल्क उसको सपोर्ट करेगा।
Mehbooba Mufti also praised Prime Minister Narendra Modi, stating that he demonstrated his strength by visiting Pakistan despite tensions between the two countries.
यही उनकी ताकत है कि वो 1 घंटे के अंदर लाहौर चले गए, वहां के वजीर आजम से मिले। ये कमजोरी की नहीं, ये ताकत की निशानी है। इससे पहले हमारे जो वजीर आजम थे, 10 साल उनकी तमन्ना थी कि मैं पाकिस्तान में पैदा हुआ हूं, मैं जाना चाहता हूं, अपना घर देखना चाहता हूं। घर देखने का तो बहाना था, पर वो पाकिस्तान जाना चाहते थे। शायद वो भी कोशिश करना चाहते थे कि दोनों मुल्कों में जो कन्फ्रंटेशन है, इसको खत्म करके जम्मू कश्मीर को इस मुसीबत से निकाला जाए, मगर जुर्रत नहीं थी, जुर्रत नहीं की। और अगर हमारे जो आज के प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी वहां गए, तो मैं समझती हूँ ये ताकत की निशानी है, ये उनकी मॉरल अथॉरिटी की निशानी है।
Kashmir Deputy Chief Minister Nirmal Singh also assured that the situation in the valley will soon become normal. He asserted that the government's focus to bring growth and development had not changed. The remarks coming against the backdrop of rising militant attacks and frequent clashes between civilians and security forces provoked angry reactions from opposition parties.
For the last 2.5 years, when they have been in coalition, we have not seen any forward movement. Rather, Kashmir, in terms of security scenario, overall environment has gone from bad to worse. They should do a retrospection themselves. On one side, her own party is saying that there is no forward movement on the agenda of alliance. On the other hand, just to save her chair, she is showering all praises on the Prime Minister.
Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir should explain to the Prime Minister what is her perception about the problem in Kashmir. Because the difficulty with the PDP-BJP alliance is that the BJP has one perception of the Kashmir issue, and the PDP has a totally different and an opposite perception of that issue. And because of this ideological incompatibility, you see that the state has absolutely gone belly up. There is anarchy which is prevailing in the state, and insofar as Prime Minister Narendra Modi going to Lahore, may I ask the Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, what came out of that visit?
Meanwhile, at least 40 bank branches in Pulwama and Shopian districts of South Kashmir suspended cash transactions. This follows the security advisory to these banks in the wake of rising robberies. At least 10 banks have been looted since the demonetization exercise was announced in November last year. In the last 2 days alone, 3 banks were looted, 2 within a span of 2 hours in a 12-kilometer radius. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, close to 300 students were admitted in hospitals in New Delhi after a gas leak caused eye irritation and breathlessness. Most of the students were discharged after their condition stabilized. The police said that the leaked chemical is used as raw material in pesticides. The cause of the leak is under investigation.
Close to 300 students from 2 schools in the national capital's Tughlaqabad area had to be hospitalized on Saturday following a gas leak from containers at an adjoining depot. The students of Rani Jhansi School and Government Girls Senior Secondary School were rushed to 3 hospitals in the vicinity after they complained of irritation in eyes, breathlessness and mild headache. Following the incident, both schools declared the day off and teams of police, National Disaster Response Force and centralized ambulance and trauma services reached the spot.
मॉर्निंग में जब प्रेयर चल रही थी तो कुछ बच्चों को आंसू की शिकायत हुई, तो हमने उसी वक्त पुलिस स्टेशन फोन किया और अभी हमने सबको एक बिल्डिंग से इवैक्यूएट किया. हमें लगा शायद दूसरी बिल्डिंग तक नहीं होगा, लेकिन जैसे ही यहाँ हम पहुंचे हैं तो लगा यहाँ पे भी है, तो हमने बच्चों की छुट्टी कर दी. एम्बुलेंस भी इतने में आ गई और हमने जितने भी बच्चे की तबीयत खराब थी उनको 3 हॉस्पिटल में, जैसे जैसे ESI में गया, जब ESI फुल हो गया तो मजीदी और बत्रा हॉस्पिटल में गया.
बस मतलब जब हम लोग प्रेयर में खड़े थे तो मतलब आंखों में जब हमारी जलन मचने लग गई तो उसी की वजह से मतलब सब बच्चों को पता चल गया और कुछ लोग बेहोश होने लग गए.
1-2 घंटे रखा गया था, फिर डॉक्टर के पास गए तो उन्होंने बोला पहले आंखें वॉश की, फिर ड्राफ्ट डाला, फिर एक कैबिन में गए थे, उन्होंने फॉर्म रखा, फिर वापस भेज दिया. कहा अब अगर दोबारा हो तो दवाई ले सकते हैं.
डॉक्टर ने कहा अगर दोबारा से मतलब प्रॉब्लम हो तो दवाई मतलब लेकर खा लेना.
While the school authorities assured that the situation was under control and students out of danger, hassled parents complained that they weren't getting enough information about their ward's conditions.
ठीक है, कंट्रोल में है, कोई भी सिचुएशन खराब नहीं है, बिल्कुल ठीक है. बच्चे सीरियस सिचुएशन कोई नहीं है, बच्चे सब अब ठीक हो चुके हैं, पेरेंट्स आ चुके हैं उनसे मिलने के लिए.
जैसे मैं गया स्कूल छोड़ के तब तक पता चला आधे घंटे बाद कि सिलेंडर स्कूल में फट गया, तो बच्चे अभी तक घर नहीं पहुंचे.
एकदम से बच्चे जैसे जो भागने के लिए लगे, घर पर आकर उसके सांस में प्रॉब्लम हुई और उसकी आंखों आगे अंधेरा आने लगा, इसीलिए उसे लेकर हम भी घर पर दौड़े.
9 बजे फोन आया स्कूल से, 9 बजे की अड़ोसी पड़ोसी ने बताया जब आए हम तो. अब मेरी लड़की का भी पता नहीं चल रहा कौन सी हॉस्पिटल में यहाँ है, कहाँ है.
The Delhi government has ordered a magisterial probe into the incident. Union Health Minister JP Nadda has instructed all center-run hospitals to be ready to help the victims. A team of doctors from AIIMS has also been put on standby for any emergency.
वो जो भी गैस है उसका कोई लास्टिंग इफेक्ट नहीं है और शाम तक ठीक हो जाएंगे. और सरकार ने DM को इंक्वायरी के ऑर्डर दे दिए हैं कि ये कैसे लीक हुई और कौन लोग इसके दोषी हैं, उनके खिलाफ सख्त कार्रवाई की जाएगी.
The opposition hit out at the Delhi government seeking a high-level probe into the incident.
बच्चों पर किसी प्रकार का असर आना और कहीं भी किसी भी पक्ष पर कोई लापरवाही किसी ने की है उसको बख्शा नहीं जाना चाहिए, उसके खिलाफ कार्रवाई होनी चाहिए और आगे से ऐसी घटना की पुनरावृत्ति ना हो, इसको भी जांच के बाद एश्योर करना चाहिए.
An FIR has been registered under various sections of IPC and the Environment Protection Act.
ये इंसिडेंट है करीबन 3:45 का अर्ली मॉर्निंग का, जब एक कंटेनर जिसमें केमिकल जो इंपोर्ट किया गया है चाइना से, इसमें से एक कंटेनर से रिसाव हुआ है और इस रिसाव से जो लिक्विड ज़मीन पे गिरा उससे जो फ्यूम्स जनरेट हुए हैं और ये जो स्पॉट था वो स्कूल की बाउंड्री वॉल से एकदम लगता हुआ स्पॉट था, तो ये मूलतः वजह सस्पेक्ट की जा रही है जिसकी वजह से बच्चों को परेशानी हुई.
According to doctors, the condition of all the students is stable and under control. The chemical in the container was imported from China and was to be taken further to Sonipat in Haryana. Anu Diwan's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the centre has declared entire Assam as a disturbed area under the Armed Forces Special Powers Act or AFSPA. This will continue for 3 months and has been done citing various violent activities by insurgent groups Alpha, NFD and others. In a Gazette notification, the Home Ministry said the entire Assam, besides bordering areas of Meghalaya, have been declared disturbed under the AFSPA for 3 months with effect from May 3rd. The ministry said there were 75 incidents of violence in Assam in 2016 in which 33 people, including 4 were killed and 14 others were abducted. Besides, there were 9 violent incidents in the state in which 4 people, including 2 security personnel, were killed in 2017. AFSPA has been continuing in Assam since November 1990. In another notification, the ministry declared 3 districts of Arunachal Pradesh, Tirap, Changlang and Longding, besides areas falling under 16 police stations bordering Assam as disturbed under the AFSPA for 3 more months. Now, AFSPA has been under force in the 3 Arunachal Pradesh districts since January 2016. 1 person was killed and at least 15 injured, including a police officer, as 2 cars clashed over loud music being played during a procession. Violence erupted as members of Dalit community in Shimlana village of Saranpur objected to a procession by the Thakur community to celebrate the birth anniversary of Maharana Pratap. It soon increased into a full-blown clash with both groups throwing stones and bricks. A police team managed to pacify the Thakur youths and asked them to return to their village, but they soon returned with more people torching 15 to 20 Dalit houses and vehicles, including those of the police. Police personnel were deployed as the tensions started spreading to neighbouring villages. Many fire tenders were also rushed to the spot. Many senior officials reached the village to monitor the situation. Meanwhile, expressing concern over the clashes, BSP Chief Mayawati on Saturday accused the BJP government of saffron appeasement. She further asked the government to immediately work towards restoring peace and order. Well, here's a look now at what else is making news across the country in Nationwide. The Punjab government on Saturday made Aadhaar cards mandatory instead of ration cards for all financial assistance schemes. It said the move will ensure that only genuine people will get the benefits of pension and other financial assistance schemes. The government also decided to introduce a quarterly pension system to bring more transparency. The Supreme Court asked the government to set up a database of children living in orphanages and childcare institutions to ensure their safety and welfare. The verdict comes on PIL that alleged that orphanages in Mahabalipuram of Tamil Nadu were involved in sexual abuse of children. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath on Saturday wielded the broom and undertook a cleanliness drive in Lucknow. UP Chief Minister also vowed to make the state open defecation free by 2018. The cleanliness drive came a day after 52 cities and towns of the state figured in the most dirty list in a survey conducted by the centre. Retired Justice Leela Seth and the first woman Chief Justice of a state high court passed away on Friday in Noida. Seth was the first woman judge of the Delhi High Court and also the first woman Chief Justice of a state high court when she took over as Chief Justice of Himachal Pradesh in 1991. Leela Seth is the mother of renowned author Vikram Singh. Time for a short break now, but news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, affectionately known as Madiba, was South Africa's first democratically elected president, an international peacemaker and statesman, and a Nobel Peace Prize winner. Through a long career as an activist, Mandela was a crusader for equal rights for South Africa's black majority. Having undergone frequent imprisonment, in 1964, Mandela was sentenced to life in jail, charged with sabotage, treason, and violent conspiracy. He narrowly escaped the gallows. He was released in 1990, having initiated talks with South African President de Klerk towards ending apartheid in the country. Mandela was awarded the Nobel Prize for Peace in 1993 for his efforts. In April 1994, the Mandela-led African National Congress won South Africa's first elections by universal suffrage. And Mandela was sworn in as president of the country's first multi-ethnic government. He retired from the presidency in 1999 and from public life in 2004. Nelson Mandela died on the 5th, 2013 from a recurring lung infection.
Farmer suicide is happening because of distress sale of his produce. What we need to do is probably increase the number of food processing facilities, industries near the production sites. If a farmer can keep the harvested tomato for 1 month, he will get at least 4 times the price that he will be getting at the time of harvest. He will be really actually rich.
Watch Eureka with Dr. K. Alagusundaram, Deputy Director General, Agricultural Engineering Department, ICAR, only on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, ahead of the decisive second round of the French presidential elections on Sunday, centrist candidate Emmanuel Macron's documents were hacked and released online. The Macron camp has called it a massive hacking attack aimed at sabotaging his campaign. The centrist leader, who is leading the opinion polls, will face off against far-right candidate Marine Le Pen in the polls.
France will choose its next president on Sunday in one of the most closely watched elections in modern French history. It is for the first time that neither of the two candidates in the decisive second round comes from a mainstream party. Frontrunner Emmanuel Macron is a centrist and is running as an independent. He launched his own movement just last year. His rival is far-right leader Marine Le Pen, who recently stepped down as leader of the National Front Party, which was founded by her father. But just a day ahead of the polls, a controversy erupted as the Macron camp claimed they were the target of a massive hacking attack after around 9 gigabytes of their data was released online. The documents were leaked on a file-sharing website late on Friday. France's Electoral Commission has restricted the publication or republication of the hacked data, saying it could amount to a criminal offense.
Ça ne m'étonne pas, on va dire. On sait qu'il y a des puissances étrangères qui veulent jouer un rôle dans l'élection présidentielle. Voilà. Comme par hasard, juste à la fin, juste avant.
En fait, si c'était pas quelque chose de classique, ce serait plus inquiétant que d'habitude, mais comme c'est relativement inquiétant globalement. Donc Emmanuel Macron, il y en a eu d'autres avant lui malheureusement.
Opinion polls indicate that former Economy Minister Macron is leading with about 20 percentage points over Le Pen ahead of the decisive second round on Sunday. In the first round, Macron won 23.9% of the vote compared to Le Pen's 21.4%.
La France est un peuple un. C'est un peuple qui se tient. Et ce sera ma responsabilité, avec vous toutes et tous, de mener ces changements profonds pour réconcilier notre peuple, réconcilier les uns et les autres, nos territoires, nos classes sociales, dans un projet commun.
Et que les médias font mine de ne pas entendre la colère sociale qui existe dans notre pays et qui va s'exprimer dimanche dans les urnes pour obtenir un vrai changement de politique et une vraie rupture avec le quinquennat socialiste.
Far-right candidate Marine Le Pen has not had it easy in the final run-up to Sunday's polls. She was booed at by scores of protesters in Reims, which she visited on the last day of campaigning. Le Pen was also criticized for her aggressive approach to Wednesday's presidential debate, which gave Macron a clear advantage.
Pas d'inquiétude, j'espère juste qu'il y aura un taux de participation suffisamment fort et qu'on aura un résultat, qu'on aura le résultat qu'on espère.
The European Union is also keeping a close watch on the elections as the result could weigh heavily on the bloc's future. While Macron is a supporter of the EU, Le Pen has continuously rallied against it. She has promised a referendum on France's membership in the hope the country will Frexit, following in Britain's footsteps. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, here's a roundup of some other international news in Global Buzz. In China, 45 people, including several officials, were jailed for up to 20 years for alleged involvement in a landslide caused by huge waste dump. 73 died in the incident in southern Chinese city of Shenzhen. The landslide occurred when a huge waste pile collapsed. The accident resulted in an economic loss of 880 million yuan and was believed to be caused by mismanagement. A young man was killed in violence in the Venezuelan city of Valencia during protests against the rule of President Nicolás Maduro. According to officials, the victim died from a head wound. At least 33 people died and hundreds have been injured in the recent spurt in violence in the country. Mass protests erupted as demonstrators demanded elections to remove President Nicolás Maduro. At least 4 soldiers and 6 suspected oil thieves died in a battle in the central Mexican state of Puebla as the army launched an operation against organized criminals who siphoned fuel from pipelines. Some 600 soldiers were involved in the operation, who were backed by another 40 helicopters and truck-mounted weapons. Iraqi forces pushed further into Mosul to dislodge the Islamic State. The militants are now besieged in the northwestern corner of Mosul. An army statement said that the 2nd Musharraf district as well as the church and Mikhail's monastery area were retaken. Nine Chadian soldiers were killed in a Boko Haram attack on an army post in the Lake Chad region, and at least 40 Boko Haram jihadists were also killed. Surrounded by Nigeria, Cameroon, Chad and Niger, Lake Chad has been the site of frequent Boko Haram attacks. Over the past 2 years, the jihadists have been chased out from most of the territories where they found a hardline Islamic State. Let's now shift focus and bring you up to speed with some sports news in Sports Beat. Eliud Kipchoge ran the quickest recorded marathon on Saturday, crossing the line on the Monza Formula One track in 2 hours and 25 seconds, but missed out on a bold attempt to break the 2-hour barrier. The sub-2-hour mark required a pace below 4 minutes and 35 seconds per mile, which the determined Kipchoge managed to stick to until falling behind the pace car in the last 2 laps of the 2.4-kilometer circuit. Kevin Anderson knocked out second-seeded Richard Gasquet at the Millennium Estoril Open on Friday. The South African saved match point in the 3rd set to line up a semi-final against third-seeded Giles Muller or Taro Daniel. Chinese Super League champions Guangzhou Evergrande came from a goal behind to defeat Shanghai Shenhua 3-2 in Guangzhou on Friday to remain at the top of the table. The home side took the lead in the 24th minute when good work by Alan Carvalho helped to set up fellow Brazilian Paulinho to score from close range. The result put Guangzhou 3 points clear of city rivals Guangzhou RF. Well, that's it in this newscast. Good night.